Our next reader to welcome on. She is a freelance journalist and the winner of the 2012 Sledgehammer Fiction Contest. Please give a warm welcome to Courtney Sherwood.
Hi. I've been wanting a beer since noon, so I don't have to hold back anymore. Excuse me. So I'm going to be reading an excerpt from what I am calling an action-adventure, futuristic, dystopian coming-of-age novel that I'm working on. Just a little background before I get going. Our hero, Kate, is an ordinary Iowa college student by day, searching for love, worried about finding work after graduation. But when she heads home for summer and winter breaks, she jets into the exotic life of a diplomat's daughter. Her dad is a mid-level American bureaucrat in China, or so Kate thinks. So far in this book, Kate's applied for every job she can find with no offers forthcoming until one interview, which happened right before the action begins. She's thrown herself at several not very interested men. She started attending political rallies because she's found an attractive activist on campus. And she's starting to question what she thinks about the American political system because of some of these experiences. So now it's winter break of her senior year, and she's flying to China to visit her parents and younger brothers. So here we go. When you're trapped in a steel can, hurtling for 13 hours around the world, there are better things to think about than how glad you just blew your future. I knew that, but I couldn't remember what any of them were before the I fucked up edged back into my brain. I fucked up. I fucked up. I fucked up. I didn't even get a mid-air nap. I was frazzled and dazed when the brothers swarmed me after customs. I didn't register mom's dress or dad's suit as they ushered me to the limo. The brothers were hyper to see me for the first time since summer, and their jabber interrupted my self-loathing as I tried to follow updates about school, movies, mom's women's group. Occasionally, mom or dad would ask a question about college, but the boys would interrupt before I opened my mouth. I closed my eyes and tried to let the chaotic babble drown out my sense of failure. I fucked up. If only it was as simple as a single fuck up. Maybe I could fix it with a thank you note. There's not much you can't fix with a thank you note, according to the office career development, or the college career development office. They even had a fill-in-the-blank template for future-destroying fools like me. Dear Ms. or Mr. Boss, I enjoyed getting to know about a company during my interview or on date. You asked me about my experience with software/language/skill, and I wanted to reassure you that I'm very proficient in software/language/skill. I have used it extensively in my classes, and I'm certain that my abilities meet the requirements of the company. Thank you so much for inviting me in for an interview. I look forward to hearing from you again soon. Sincerely, applicant. Sure, I could do that, but my version would need some bullet points. Good thing bosses like bullet points. Dear Mrs. Wu, I enjoyed getting to know about Shenzhen Inc. during my interview on Friday at your San Francisco branch. You asked me several questions in Chinese, and I wanted to reassure you that while I didn't understand a word you said, that's only because I was so excited about the chance to work with you that my brain wasn't working right. I've been studying Mandarin for 7 years, and I'm writing this note from China right now. I flew here right after the interview, and I'm certain my abilities meet the language requirements of Shenzhen Inc. While I'm at it, I'd like to address a few other items related to my interview. Bullet point 1. I actually did show up early like you're supposed to show how eager I am for this job. I swear. It's just that the seam in my skirt ripped when I stopped in the ladies' room on the way to the front desk. I had to rush out to buy a bunch of safety pins and pin myself back together. With the job at Shenzhen Inc., I'm certain that I can afford appropriate attire that would prevent me from being tardy in the future. Bullet point 2. I'd also like to apologize for honking and making rude gestures at you as I sped out of the parking lot on Friday morning. I was in a hurry to find those safety pins so I could get back in time for the interview, but that's no excuse for my behavior. Bullet point 3. When you asked me what my weaknesses are, I responded, I don't have any. The truth is, I was simply unprepared. Now I know that's a common interview tactic, but your illustrious company is the first to offer me a job interview. I'd be happy to provide you a list of minor weaknesses that in no way will interfere with my ability to contribute to a productive office work environment. Just let me know. End of bullet points. Thank you so much for inviting me in for an interview. I look forward to hearing from you again. Sincerely, Kate the Fuck Up. Only when the driver paused at a guard booth, then drove through cast iron gates at the door to the door of an unfamiliar mansion did I register how much had changed within my family's world since last summer. This was not the place they called home a few months back. From outside the gate, I'd seen a steep sloped red tile roof that hinted at a traditional pagoda, but the white marble building it topped, with 4 enormous columns rising in structures full 3 stories, looked like a knockoff of classical Greek architecture or something from a government building in Washington, D.C., except each pillar rose from the back of a giant onyx sculpted dragon. The dragon snarled in perfect symmetry. Finally, something to think about other than the job interview I'd been lucky enough to land and stupid enough to blow. Something ugly, perplexing, and unexpected. What happened to living in the compound with the rest of the embassy employees, I asked. And what kind of mashup mansion is this place? The election, Dad said quietly, as though that explained everything. I rubbed my tired eyes and for the first time registered that Mom and Dad were both dressed up. The boys were in pressed button-downs instead of the stained and ripped t-shirts they normally wore. This didn't make sense. But the election just happened, I said. It's got to be at least 3-4 weeks till Inauguration Day, and you're a career diplomat anyhow. I thought politics wasn't supposed to matter to how you work. Yes and no, Dad said. Everything's political. That didn't sound like Dad. My father was an idealist, not the type to play politics. Plus, the new president-elect might be riding a powerful political wave, but she couldn't move him out of the American compound to a giant mansion before she was even sworn in as president, could she? The 15-foot-high front door slowly opened, and a man in butler's duds emerged, took my bag. It doesn't make sense, I said. You're right, my dad whispered into my ear. It doesn't make sense until you know the whole story, but we can't talk openly about that here.